what we do here is go back.
Freaky Flickers: The Quest for the Golden Flicker was meant to be a CGI animated film directed, written and animated by Kerry Howe. The film was based on the Freaky Flickers toy line. Its general premise was Arch, the pirate, and his crew of flickers going on a quest to find the Golden Flicker in an attempt to pay off the mortgage debt of their creator, Doc Flick. Their creator materialized the plastic figures himself, giving them personalities and bringing them to life so he could have some assistance around the lab. During an extremely exhausting and stressful week of animating the film, everyman Kerry Howe was attempting to meet one of the deadlines on a portion of production for the film. His workstation kept on crashing during test renders of the film's animation. As this was his only 64-bit machine, he had no choice but to keep on using it. As the weekend approached in his long week of animating, Kerry decided he would continue working overnight. He was so exhausted by the end of the week that he decided to lay down to rest despite the film's imminent deadline. Another editor was working on the film in his living room at the time. He awoke to the sound of his house being dead silent, and upon getting up, he realized the project computers that he was using to work on the film had been stolen. So too were the film's backup hard drives. Kerry detached a letter from the wall which explained that funding for the project had fallen through and the film was being shut down. Kerry then slumped into his desk chair for several hours. To this day, the suspected people who stole the computers have still not released the test renders and animations which had been completed to that point. What you were watching during this segment was the film's trailers, which had already been released during the film's animation process. Not a lot of people know that was a panel-style comedy game show that aired on the Australian public access network Channel 31 Melbourne in early 2013. Young Sam, yes, me, watched and recorded episodes of this show in March and April of 2013. I found it while channel surfing one night, and being someone who was fascinated in preserving everything obscure, I pressed the record button during episode 2 on the off chance that this show was somewhat worth saving for any reason. The following week, I tuned into the show with the record button being pressed once again. However, I was greeted at the beginning of the third episode with this most bizarre intro.
Hi, I'm England's Neil Sinclair, and we'd like to thank you for watching Not a Lot of People Know That. Now, you may have noticed that some of the episodes look a bit different to some of the other episodes, and that's because somebody broke into our filming venue and stole the external hard drive with 4 of the episodes on. So we had to ask everyone to come back and refilm them. Now, that gravity roustabout probably got $50, and that's not much when you consider the effort that we put in. Now, everyone in community television works for free. The whole crew had to come back and film everything. All the guests had to come back and film everything. And so this is a big thanks to them for coming back and saying the same jokes twice and filming the same jokes twice.
Of course, as a fan of lost media, even back then as a 13-year-old, I was interested in this story. Only a week or so later, I went to an event at the media youth company Sin Media. This company had an affiliation with the youth media company that produced Not a Lot of People Know That, RMITV. Just by sheer chance, one of the people at this event was a guest contestant on the show. She explained to me in person, and with great enthusiasm, just how annoying it was for her and the other guests of her episode to be messaged and told that the show had been stolen, and every joke, one-liner and keynote on the script had to be repeated word for word during an entire reshoot of her episode, as well as the other 3 episodes that were on the stolen hard drives. This contestant, Beck, filmed the first version of her episode months earlier, and she kind of indicated to me that the process of filming it the first time around wasn't easy either, so to have to go back and do it all over again wasn't fun. To this day, the stolen hard drives that featured the raw audio and files of episodes 3 to 6 still have not been recovered. Back in 2013, they made the mistake of not backing up these episodes and leaving them in the on-site editing suite where they had filmed the show. And given the amount of unknown volunteers that frequented this space, a theft of hard drives that weren't cheap was never off the cards. On the plus side, when they reshot these episodes, they were able to record them in a much nicer and far more professional purpose-built set that was located in the RMITV studio studios in Melbourne, Australia. This is as opposed to doing the show in what just looked like a crappy room they were hiring out. When I made my first video on this topic back in 2016, I sent it to this guy, one of the main people in charge of the show, Neil Sinclair. As you can see from this DM, he was shocked that anyone remembered this show and its corresponding story, and he was genuinely satisfied that someone recognized his work. As am I when other Lost Media YouTubers cover this topic that I brought to the attention of the Lost Media community many years ago. Also, in case you guys don't already know, the original test animations for the 2002 version of Foodfight have been rendered found. I featured this topic in my recent video, Lost Media You Will Never Ever Find. I know, right? That title aged like a nice cold glass of milk in the hot sun. This was announced as found and uploaded to YouTube literally 1 week after I posted that video. Perfect timing. I wanted to mention it again in this video, as it too was also at one point believed to have been stolen Lost Media. What makes this discovery even more crazy is the fact that everything that was released recently is literally all of the animations that were completed for the film. Bruh. So everything that was ever made for that 2002 version of Foodfight has pretty much been completely rendered found. The only part of that portion of my video which aged well was this part. I still wonder if the original animations were backed up somewhere else before the filmmakers deleted them on purpose. We may never know. So much for it being Lost Media you'll never ever find.